The unbelievable throw that made NFL scouts notice Shedeur Sanders immediately. This one throw made NFL coaches freeze mid-practice and realize they might have just watched the biggest draft mistake of 2025.
Yeah, Shregs, we hear that this Browns team might carry 4 quarterbacks on the roster. At least they're floating that idea, I guess. What do you think truly does happen to the 53-man opening day roster? And are they looking to potentially trade one of these guys?
I'd be surprised. And the two guys that I would look at is Flacco and Pickett. Now, they were aggressive in getting Joe Flacco as a free agent quarterback, brought him back. Obviously, he has a great relationship with Stefanski. Two of them had great success 2 years ago when he was the comeback player of the year, but they also acquired Kenny Pickett. I would be surprised personally if both of those veteran quarterbacks are still on the roster come week 1, and you have the 2 rookies.
Picture this. It's July 2025, Cleveland Browns training camp, and there's this 5th-round rookie quarterback that 143 other players got picked before. Most guys in his position would be happy just to make the roster. But then Shedeur Sanders drops back in practice. The pocket collapses, defenders closing in from every angle, and he delivers a throw that makes veteran coaches stop what they're doing and just stare. One throw, one moment that has everyone asking the same question. How did 31 NFL teams let this guy slip to the 5th round? This is the same quarterback who posted a 6.5% off-target percentage in college, better than 99% of quarterbacks in the country, yet somehow fell to pick 144. And that throw I'm talking about? It wasn't just impressive, it was the exact same type of play that had scouts calling him the most NFL-ready passer they'd seen all season back in college. Because what's happening right now in Cleveland's 4-way quarterback battle is about to make a lot of general managers look really, really stupid. You know what's crazy? We're sitting here in July 2025, and Shedeur Sanders is already making waves in Cleveland Browns camp. But let me take you back to April, because what happened at the 2025 NFL Draft was nothing short of a disaster for 31 NFL front offices. Think about this for a second. Shedeur Sanders, the son of NFL legend Deion Sanders, the quarterback who dominated college football, the guy who was supposed to be a first-round lock, watched 143 players get their names called before his. 143. That's not just a slide, that's a free fall from the penthouse to the basement. But here's where it gets interesting. The throw that I'm about to tell you about, it happened during his final season at Colorado, and it was the exact moment that had NFL scouts frantically rewriting their evaluation reports. Picture this scene. 4th quarter, Colorado trailing by 10, everything on the line. The defense knows Sanders has to throw, they're bringing pressure from everywhere, and the pocket is collapsing faster than a house of cards. Most quarterbacks in that situation, they're either taking the sack, scrambling for their lives, or throwing a desperate prayer into double coverage. But Sanders? He does something that makes you question everything you thought you knew about pocket presence and arm talent. The rush is coming from his left, linebacker screaming up the middle, and instead of panicking, Sanders takes one subtle step up in the pocket. And I mean subtle, we're talking inches here. Keeps his eyes downfield and delivers a 35-yard strike between 2 defenders into the tightest window you've ever seen. The ball placement was so perfect that his receiver caught it in stride and took it to the house. Now, here's what made this throw special. It wasn't just the accuracy, though that 6.5% off-target percentage I mentioned earlier tells you all you need to know about his precision. It wasn't just the arm strength, though he zipped that ball with NFL velocity. It was the decision-making under pressure. The way he processed the defense, identified the window, and trusted his arm to thread the needle when everything was breaking down around him. The scout sitting in the press box that day, he immediately called his general manager and said, "We need to move this kid up our board." What I just saw was pure NFL quarterbacking. But somehow, someway, that message got lost in translation between April and draft day. Let me paint you a picture of what draft day looked like for Sanders. You've got guys like Caleb Williams going 1st overall, no surprise there. But then you watch quarterback after quarterback get selected, and Sanders' name just doesn't get called. 3rd round comes and goes. 4th round, nothing. And with every pick, you can almost feel the tension building. The Browns, sitting there with their mess of a quarterback situation after going 3-14 the previous season, they're watching this unfold too. They'd already shocked everyone by taking Dillon Gabriel from Oregon in the 3rd round. But when Sanders was still sitting there in the 5th round, That was Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski looking at each other and thinking, are we about to get the steal of the century? Pick 144. That's where the Cleveland Browns finally put Sanders out of his misery. And you know what's wild? The Browns had already taken another quarterback earlier in the draft. They were so confident that Sanders was going to be available. Later that they didn't even panic when Gabriel was still on the board in the third. But here's where the story gets really juicy. Fast forward to July 2025, and Sanders walks into Browns training camp with something to prove. Joe Flacco's there, the veteran who's been around the block. Kenny Pickett's there, the former first-round pick looking for a fresh start. Deshaun Watson's dealing with his own situation and expected to miss significant time. And then there's Dillon Gabriel, the third-round pick who was supposed to be the future point for quarterbacks, one starting job, and the kid who was picked 144th. Overall is out there making throws that have coaches shaking their heads in disbelief. You want to know what that throw in training camp looked like? It was like watching a replay of that college moment I told you about. Same pressure, same pocket. Awareness, same laser precision. The only difference? Now he's doing it against NFL caliber defenders, and they can't touch him either. The defensive coordinator after that practice? He pulled Sanders aside and said, "Kid, I don't know how you fell to the 5th round, but somebody made a massive mistake." And you know what Sanders told him? "Coach, I'm not worried about the past. I'm here to show everyone what they missed." That's the mentality you need in this league. Not the guy who's satisfied with just making the roster, but the guy who's hungry to prove that 143 players got picked before him by mistake. That's championship DNA right there. And let's talk about the technical stuff for a minute, because this is where Sanders really separates himself. That 6.5% off-target percentage I mentioned? For context, the average college quarterback hovers around 15 to 20%. Elite NFL quarterbacks are usually in the 8 to 12% range. Sanders was putting up numbers that would make Pro Bowl quarterbacks jealous, and he was doing it in college. His receivers loved him because he made their job easy. Perfect spiral, perfect timing, perfect placement. They didn't have to make spectacular catches because Sanders put the ball exactly where it needed to be. That's the difference between a good quarterback and a great one, making everyone around you better. But here's what really gets me fired up about this whole situation. The Browns are sitting there with a quarterback room that could be absolutely lethal. You've got Flacco's veteran leadership, Pickett's potential, Gabriel's athletic ability, and Sanders' pure passing skill. That's not just competition. That's a masterclass in quarterback development. And you know what Kevin Stefanski is thinking right now? He's thinking about how Tom Brady was pick 199, how Aaron Rodgers fell to 24, how Russell Wilson went in the 3rd round. Sometimes the best quarterbacks aren't the ones who get picked first. They're the ones who have something to prove. Sanders isn't just comfortable in Cleveland. He's thriving. The reports coming out of camp are that he's sharp, he's accurate, and he's showing leadership qualities that you don't typically see from a 5th-round rookie. He's not just trying to make the team, he's trying to take over. Think about the irony here. The Browns went 3-14 last season, fired their offensive coordinator, and were basically starting from scratch. They needed a quarterback who could come in and immediately contribute. And sitting there in the 5th round was a guy who was more NFL ready than quarterbacks who went 3 rounds earlier. The trade rumors are already starting to swirl. Teams that passed on Sanders are now calling Cleveland, asking about his availability. The Indianapolis Colts are reportedly interested. But you know what? The Browns aren't stupid. They know they might have just found their franchise quarterback at pick 144. Here's what's going to happen. Sanders is going to continue making throws that leave people speechless. He's going to show that draft position doesn't determine your ceiling, your work ethic and talent do. And by the time the 2025 season starts on September 4th, when the Eagles host the Cowboys, everyone's going to be talking about the Browns' quarterback situation. Because here's the truth that nobody wants to admit. Shedeur Sanders might just be the most talented quarterback in that entire draft class. Not the first quarterback taken, not the second, not the third. The guy who fell to pick 144 because teams overthought themselves into oblivion. You want to know what makes a great quarterback? It's not the round you're drafted in. It's not the fanfare or the guaranteed money. It's the ability to make throws when everything's falling apart around you. It's the pocket presence to stand tall when 300-pound defensive ends are trying to take your head off. It's the accuracy to thread the needle when the game's on the line. And that throw I told you about? The one that made scouts take notice? Sanders has been making throws like that his entire career. The problem wasn't his ability, it was everyone else's evaluation. So here's my question for you. How many more times are we going to watch teams overthink the draft and let elite talent slip through their fingers? How many more Tom Brady's, Aaron Rodgers, and Russell Wilsons need to prove that draft position doesn't equal success? The Browns might have just pulled off the heist of the century, while other teams were busy drafting safe picks and high-floor players. Cleveland was sitting there watching a potential franchise quarterback fall into their lap at pick 144. Now mark my words, 5 years from now, we're going to look back at the 2025 NFL Draft as the year 31 teams made the same mistake, and the Cleveland Browns got the last laugh. Because that fifth-round rookie quarterback making impossible throws look routine in training camp, he's about to remind everyone why draft position is just a number and talent is forever. What do you think? Are the Browns about to strike gold with Shedeur Sanders, or did teams have legitimate reasons for letting him slide? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more NFL Insider analysis.